27 characters were revealed yesterday. Only 5 of them were women. Sure, the Russo brothers have never been big on female characters. It's true. And to be fair, when the Avengers were at their most successful, they weren't either.
New mask, same task.
I'm just saying, it's really weird. It's really weird.
Weird.
Marvel's Doomsday has raised an important question in cinema. How many TNA characters do you really need in a movie? Once you've got your token one, isn't that enough? This is an idea that really pissed off Grace Randolph and the Mary Sue. Avengers Doomsday. And there's barely any girls allowed. Avengers Doomsday announced their cast by showing the backs of chairs for 5 hours. And despite being incredibly boring and a really horrific way to reveal a cast, it was still massively successful and will no doubt teach them all the wrong lessons. If you thought watching a block of ice melt was bad, you've seen nothing yet. Unfortunately, when it came to Doomsday, it got all the sexist bigots out there to start counting clunge, and they weren't happy. Which kind of surprises me, because the Mary Sue is not known for its bad takes. This Rachel Zegler hit piece just made her seem so much cooler than she already was. That would be Zegler, who was subject to a racist and hate-filled movement. She didn't say sexist. I think we're okay to talk about this article. Where were you when Marvel made us watch over 4 hours of chairs? I was making a video and ignoring it. I figured I could just look up a list afterwards. But then Marvel released their own video that showed us all the chairs back to back anyway. Pun not intended. I was just definitely the winner here. But with each chair revealed, you might have missed some of the names, or maybe you didn't recognize that a lot of the names were men. That's fine. I don't dislike boys. You sure you're on the right website? But it is surprising. Looking at the women that were listed, you might think I'm being unreasonable for asking for more, but that's 1/5 of the cast that were women. 5 out of 20 men. So what we've learned here today is that the ratio matters. It's gotta be 50-50. If it's not 50-50, you're a bigot. So it would be weird if the same author made her own top 10 characters I'm most excited for, and she only listed 1, 2, 3 women in it. That's hardly 50-50, is it, love? Where's the sisterhood?
Sisterhood of the Traveling Kegels?
Now, I do find it funny that she says, you didn't even include any witches, when there are 5 of them. Don't you guys need to see your new Hawkeye? No. The TV viewers prove that. Do you see how upsetting this is for fans of the franchise? Are we back to being a boys' club? It feels like female fans are being given the bare minimum. No, there's a load of men there for you to look at. If anything, you get the benefit of it. There's just less characters for you to pretend you are. If we are going off the attractiveness of the cast, it's the blokes which are suffering for eye candy at the moment. You make one of them blue, another one insufferable, and she's entirely covered up in a suit. But looking at the male-dominated cast and the lack of confirmation for more female characters hurts. Are we going back to the days of being grateful for what representation we were given? Would have been a good start, wouldn't it? If rather than pushing for more and dancing on the grave of the industry, you were actually grateful, that probably would have helped.
Keep manifesting, ladies.
It just doesn't make sense to have this many men and not balance it with some of the female. They got 5 of them. 5 is already a number we can definitely improve on. I think the weirdest part is when Grace Randolph said, we get Falcon, but no Wiccan? Why are they comparable in the least? Oh, you can't have Falcon without his sidekick. Probably more like side piece. Although I do agree that adding Wiccan would have made it 6. But people were genuinely mad about this. Can we talk about the lack of powerful female characters? The Invisible Woman, what's she gonna do? Well, presumably, she'll be heard but not seen. The worst possible combination.
My dear, you should learn to be admired in silence.
And Mystique? She can only shapeshift. Oh, imagine only being able to transform into every person on Earth. What a weakling. And of course, this was likened to, as being a lack of diversity. Which isn't even true, because this is modern day Hollywood in the current year. And as such, having a significant smaller number of female actors is increasing diversity, as they've been dominating Marvel in all the recent movies. This is the unique scenario. And the rage kept coming. Just 5 female characters announced. You know they didn't put women in Doomsday because the execs can't handle another incel review bomb. This doesn't even make sense. Surely they would want the characters in. They'd rather pander to babies than the gays that have proven them to make good numbers.
I'd quite like to try and pull off an elf.
Milk for the child.
Stop, please stop.
How have they proven good numbers? The industry is dying, my man. No She-Hulk. Pour one out for the loss of the greatest character in all of Marvel history. Only beaten by Willow.
Taken me a long time to figure out who I am?
Could you stop heavy breathing, please? It's really distracting. Imagine the entertainment gold that could have created. No Captain Marvel. We'll miss you, Brie. No Miss Who? Sexism is back, y'all. We are so back. Maybe this is one time where Rachel Zegler was correct.
All of the people were angry. Like,
those people.
Very
People that we
awakening
need
of-
to educate, love into awareness.
love them in the right direction.
Then we got the ones that watch the announcements with a Dulux colour chart. Everyone else is white. Look, how is it their fault if they're the successful, monetarily profitable characters? Maybe this says something more about you. This is perfect for the incels and bigots. This is the movie they asked for. We are so back. Just imagine a company giving the audience what it asked for. I mean, I'm going to assume that a lot of these people also hate capitalism. So I can understand them not understanding how it works. Probably why they hate it. But when he says, I would hope we see no complaints. No, because unlike you, everyone else isn't this surface level. They'll actually analyze the movie rather than the genitalia of the cast involved.
Only 5 of them were women.
People can work on multiple levels. Most people don't actually think that the quality of the movie is simply down to the identity groups of the people in it. That's why you've killed the industry. But you bitches won again, unfortunately, and will keep winning, and made Marvel back down so far to the point they are spineless. It's actually not a virtue to stand up for the side of evil. It's like, well, you know, they were evil, but at least they stayed being evil to the bitter end. Isn't a virtue. Actually, realizing you're on the side of evil, backing down and changing would be a virtue. Giving in really quickly when you're on the side of evil is a virtue. You actually don't want diversity of thought or morality. You just want people to be correct. That would be the perfect world. But you heard it here first, guys.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
We won. No Vision, no She-Hulk, no Champions or Young Avengers. Yeah, we need to get the kids involved. What everybody wants in an Avengers movie based on violence. Children. Barely any women. No Kamala, Monica, or Carol. Were Kamala, Monica, and Carol not wrapped up in this? Yeah, they don't have any women. And Kamala and Monica. No wonder. She's not one either. I already don't have an interest in watching Doomsday. If there's not a critical massive clunge, I'm not interested. These people treat going to the cinema like a nuclear weapon. There is a minimum amount of identity groups required before it's worth investing in. Avengers Doomsday is only for fat, smelly men. It's not even just for the fat ones. If you don't smell, just don't go. Only 5 female Hang on. I don't think you can call other people fat when you need more than 5 people to represent you. Are you the size of 6 people? I can only project part of myself into one of them. There just isn't enough room. And none of them are Wanda. We will not be watching. Definitely multiple people if you're using plurals. Marvel dude bros were complaining about how long and lame the announcement was because it was really uninspired. What you're essentially going is, Marvel dude bros have taste. Meanwhile, I'm just wondering about their parts. How many have dangly bits? The horror. And only 6 are women? Can't even count. 32 stars? 6. They should have just told you were 15 women. You wouldn't have known. Got the numbers wrong anyway. This is what happens when men have been lying to you about how long 6 inches is for years. Lose all ability to do maths.
999, what's your emergency?
Are you f***ing kidding me?
90% of the cast is men. Again, maths. 5 out of 27, not 10%. At the end, Robert Downey Junior should have sat down in his chair, turned around and gone, 50% women there. They would have just believed them. They are 4 they can't count. None of the Young Avengers. That's probably because we haven't had any Young Avengers. But I think my favorite is, where is Brie? Where was Brie? They took Brie Larson out back and shot her. Not even Brie Larson. Like, what the hell? Where's Brie? Where's Captain? All in block caps, by the way. Block caps, block caps, block caps. And I can't help thinking they missed the mark, because while they were going for rage, they ended up at comedy. This is the reason why I like Willow and She-Hulk. It's like, yes, I know what you're going for, but we've just ended up at comedy. I know you're trying to be impactful, but could you try and be less funny while doing it? So as women TV heroes get the short end of the stick, MovieWeb came out and said, is Marvel making the same mistake with Doomsday that Lucasfilm made with Star Wars? They do kind of answer their own question here. It was absence of names like Tatiana Maslany, Brie Larson, Iman Vellani, and Teyonah Parris. Why would they leave these people out? Well, these are the characters that fans have spent years saying they don't care for and are blamed for Marvel's decline. Guess we answered that then. Why have you not put these characters? Right, yeah. Because they killed the industry. And don't come back. Probably smart then, isn't it? I'm not even a fan of the Russo brothers, but it's probably smart. Well, all for except for Tatiana Maslany, obviously. She could save this movie with Willow, like, riding on her shoulders. Repeating a mistake that has plagued Lucasfilm for nearly 10 years. Rey? Ahsoka. That other woman in Ahsoka that traveled to a different galaxy to tell a guy that she didn't want to shag him. Gonna have to be more specific, I'm afraid. This speaks volumes. One big takeaway was the sheer lack of fallopian tubes. When you think about it, if that's what matters, they have 2 of them. A piece. Basically like there was 10 women there. And as they are all just individually so powerful, just because they're radiating the sheer embodiment of the, like, femtinitus. They're just that strong. If anything, you could say that we need more men to balance out that power that they just exude. Their strong, independent power.
Yeah, Disney magic.
The studios are just trying to appease the group of people that used to like the tacky and boring criticism of MCU. You mean the audience? I can't believe they're trying to appeal to the people that could give them money. The scum. I tell you what, if you did, you might make some yourself. This was highlighted by some of the characters that had perceived backlash, like She-Hulk, whose ensemble was a diverse mix of women. They're all the same. So diverse. Have you ever considered that one of the reasons these characters failed is because they were just tick boxes that you added in, rather than actually having talent? They didn't get there because they were talented. They got there because you wanted this. Despite whether you think it does or not, actually, the quality of the entertainment is what makes people like entertainment. And quality depends on actively excluding people with no talent. The lack of She-Hulk was disappointing on several levels. I agree. I'm with you, MovieWeb. This might be one of the greatest travesties in all of history. Despite some audience members making it their mission to spread the perception that She-Hulk Attorney at Law was the worst Marvel entry, no.
Plan was to strike up a very normal conversation with a beautiful woman stuffing her face with candy nuts.
Not everything is about you, Jennifer.
It's one of the best.
Nuts.
That and Willow are the best series they've ever put out. Pissing hilarious.
Whoa, huge! Yeah.
Did you say that and literally cut to this woman? Faced a massive hate campaign before anyone saw the footage, and that won them over. Everyone changed their mind when they saw the footage. Tatiana Maslany has spoken out against the hateful comments she gets from people. Yeah, she also spoke out against the CEO of Disney. Not saying it's linked, but it probably didn't help.
Why should we be punished for her mistake?
I think he's out of touch. Completely out of touch. The people who make these shows, who bring in viewers. Probably shouldn't have mentioned that. What should you? That's not your strong point. But the Eternals, Marvels, and She-Hulk Attorney at Law have been made into punchbags online by a certain audience segment. Let me at them. You show me who didn't let She-Hulk and Willow in this movie. I'll give them a piece of my mind.
Nuts.
Actively making the world worse, I tell you. It's certainly no coincidence that people who are hired for tick boxes rather than talent tend to have more criticism than other people. It's just bad. No, and it's bad writing. It's also hiring people because of their identity rather than their ability. That goes for everything, not just writers. This poor reaction to movies like Thor, Love and Thunder, and Ant-Man. Oh, sorry, yeah. Thor and Ant-Man, famous women of color. Oh my god. You people. Yeah, I said you people. The journalists never disappoint. It's like visiting the zoo. Marvel is leaving their best characters behind because they believe the worst people online. Yeah, I agree. Accountants. They're too close to the tax man. They keep giving him money. It's like they're in cahoots. And apparently this is the problem that Lucasfilm had, listening to the worst critics. So then they talk about Calamari Tran. If you think Rose Tico is a good character, I've got a bridge to sell you. 8 years after the release, only gotten worse, as entire online industry of hate aggregators. That's the best term I've ever heard. The hate aggregators. Just a load of people that have taste. You won't believe what these hate aggregators are doing now. They're asking for a better script. The scum! Before even a single frame of footage for The Acolyte was shot, a coordinated hate campaign began. To be fair, that was when they started talking about it, and people were like, what?
What's it like working with Leslie on this series?
There's lots of hugging and crying, and
It has been so emotional. I'm shaking.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot.
It's been incredibly emotional, and I have cried many times today.
I'm emotional just knowing that you all are a part of this galaxy.
I think you'll be excited to see some of the colors that we use in our spaceships, and you'll obviously see the costumes of the Jedi.
The best thing about Star Wars is it doesn't have any good and evil people in it.
The best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil.
This is a woman-centered world.
My character, she's a powerful leader. Yes, yes. In a very woman-centered world. Star Wars is very, like, patriarchal.
Just what I really want in my lightsaber show, thanks. Disney has often failed to protect. I'd love to know what you expect Disney to do. If they didn't cast them, they would protect them. Or if they had decent writers, it would protect them. If they fired all of the useless hacks from their company, that would protect them. But if you're going to be a customer-facing business with no talent, the customers are going to tell you have none. But it's not as if the decision had no purpose behind it in the first place. Obviously, there are going to be more men than women in a superhero show. For a start, they're heroes, and heroic values are masculine values. You can see this anywhere on Earth. Because women give birth to babies, they are more inherently valuable, they have to be protected. They didn't evolve to fight because they have to fit a head through their pelvis. This means their entire pelvis is a different shape, their legs are a different shape. Everything about them from that point on evolved not to fight. So you have men who are disposable, who can fight to protect the women who can have the babies and continue the survival of the species. This is common sense. That means that men have an instinct, as long as they don't think too hard about it and just act impulsively, to sacrifice themselves. But it also means that women have an instinct to protect themselves. In a dangerous situation, the men will run towards the danger, and the women won't. This is why you can view any horrific thing on the internet. You will see men charging towards the problem, and women either running away or standing there screaming. It's also why on the Titanic, it was women and children first on the boats. They didn't want to sacrifice themselves. There was no instinct there for them to protect the men. They weren't going, no, you first. Sorry, no. I ain't getting on that boat. If you've got dangly bits, I will give up my place for you. There was no fights or uproar on that ship to save the men. And this is a problem with entertainment. Entertainment, to be satisfying, has to satisfy your core base impulses. It's your instinct. If these are stories designed to teach you about the world, about the danger of the world, how you should go forth in the world, if you dare to teach you life lessons without putting you through the dangerous situation required to learn it the hard way, then you're also going to reject stories which obviously aren't true. To be immersed in a story, it has to feel like a real life scenario. People actually have to act like humans do, and that means obey their base impulses. Gender roles are integral to a story, just like they're integral to any situation in real life. And that's just from a storytelling perspective, because on top of that, you have the audience of movies being largely men, because men are interested in things and women are more interested in people. There are just more blokes that go to the cinema as a whole, so obviously you're going to make movies for them because they're majority of the audience. And that means that the women that are in the movie are basically there for the male gaze. Everything they do, every action they take, the way they are dressed, the characters they are, should be catered towards the blokes, because that's how you make money in cinema. And this is especially true in the superhero genre, which is even more biased towards a male audience. And so however you spin it, this is just a fixed point. It's a reality that you can't get around. If you want to make money, you have the business reasons. But if you want to make a good movie that people like, well, that's where you have all the biological ones. And it also explains why you can't bring in a new audience. You can't just fill superheroes with women and then expect this brand new audience to come along, because even if they watch it, they will also still be unsatisfied with it. Because the idea of putting themselves in danger, of sacrificing themselves, that's not appealing. It's men that grow up with the idea of charging into battle. And so really, the question that people should be asking isn't, why are these the only characters in the movie? It's, why don't they look like this? Why are they making themselves look more attractive and showing more skin than they do in the movies? Why are they more designed to appeal to the male gaze on the red carpet than they are in the movies they appear in? Because men will fully get behind female superheroes. The least you have to do is make them hot. Hell, why do you think Wonder Woman was so successful? One thing Hollywood needs to learn is, you don't need to like reality. Reality doesn't require your agreement. The only thing you have to do is obey it. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.